You're listening to the Commish Radio Show. I'm Ed Gray, and on this week's episode of the Commish, before he goes to Euless, Texas, we have with us Judge Kim Cooks and also Judge Andrea Lane.
How you doing? It's good to be back.
It's good to be back. Let's play the music up. Put the music up, man.
Here we are.
There you go. There you go. Get the music up. Go up a little bit more. There you go. There you go. Yeah. Now that's it. Now, you know, I'm looking off screen. You changed my camera. Why didn't you change it? I mean, you know, now I gotta talk to the people on this side. How you doing? This is Ed Gray, Commish Radio Show, and we are here today with Judge Andrea Lane and also Judge Kim Cooks, running for re-election, and they'll tell you which of the courts they're running for. But you're listening to Ed Gray, Commish Radio Show, and we're about to move out of town to Euless, Texas. And I wanted to go ahead and get this nice vibe music because we had this nice vibe of a, well, studio. So no longer with that, let's kick the ballistic. Cut it! I'm mad.
Why are you mad? We're not having no mad energy.
I'm mad.
Here.
I'm mad.
I played that.
I did that. You know, and you know the reason why I'm mad?
Why are you mad?
I'm mad because every time I look at the news, I see something that I don't want to see. And I just want to go ahead and just up front, because people would be asking me, they'll be like saying, why didn't you ask him this question? And we only have a limited amount of time here. Okay, so I'm gonna let you two judges introduce yourself, and then I've been going through Facebook. I've been seeing some things, and they've been quite disturbing.
So I just get serious then. Huh?
No, that's why I said I'm mad.
Ooh, Ed Gray is
I'm
mad.
No. Normally when I'm mad, it's my voice, my opinion. But I'm just like, say, I've been knowing you two judges for a long time before you got elected.
Yes. On the streets when we met.
Right.
Yep.
So tell them who you are and let's go with it.
Hello, everyone. I am so happy to be back on the Commish. This is actually where we started, coming on the radio, right? With the Commish. Talking about why we wanted to run for judge and how we plan to change the world for the better. I am Judge Andrea Martin Lane. I am the judge of the 304th District Court in Dallas County, Texas. It's a juvenile court, so I have jurisdiction over our babies, whether they are between 10 and 16 and out there committing crimes, or if they are at risk of abuse or neglect. I handle all of those cases. And I'm up for re-election. February 14th is when early voting starts. I need y'all to show me love and go vote on Valentine's. February 14th, Judge Andrea Lane.
All right.
And hello, everyone. I'm Judge Kim Cooks. I am the presiding judge, your presiding judge of the 255th Family Court, as well as Protective Order Court. I'm glad to be here, Mr. Ed Gray. It's been a long time since we've been here, and you also know us as the fitness judges. We have our own show on Fridays at 3 p.m. So we are here with Ed Gray. It seems like we don't get invited ever since we had our own show. Ed Gray didn't invite us no more. So
because people pay to come on my show. Now, obviously, since you're already here, you ain't got to pay. So obviously, that being said, when's your show on?
It's on Fridays, every Friday at 3 p.m. Fitness Judges. So we are also moving to Euless, Bedford area, and I'm up for re-election.
But y'all are slamming them like I'm doing? Y'all don't do that, huh?
No, we don't do that. We don't. We that's not in us to slam. So I am up for re-election, and like Judge Lane said, February 14th, early voting begins. I need you to go vote. Go show me love. February 14th through the 25th, and on March 1st is the Democratic primary, so we need your support.
And I see he said he's mad. He has a whole lot of papers that he's looking at.
I got these papers here.
I'm worried about why he's mad. I know I didn't do anything. Did you do something?
These papers.
At least not recently.
I don't know.
Haven't done anything recently, not that I know of.
Well, not you.
You're not a constable or something. You're not trying to serve us with no papers, huh?
Well, I got papers here.
You got some papers.
Yeah, I got papers. You know, it's like that song, She Got Papers. You don't know nothing about that, do you? You're a young man. You don't know nothing about that one. The papers. She got papers on me. That's like a family court type thing too, ain't it?
Yep.
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 All right. So all of this, and you know, I've just been checking this out. And which court you say you're running for again?
255th Family Court.
And you're on the
304th District Court.
All right. So this is like, man, I was sitting looking at this stuff earlier, and I'm going like, man, they've given me stuff like this. Jerry Springer or something like that.
Uh-oh. Is Jerry Springer at the courthouse?
Jerry Springer is not at the courthouse. We don't need any of that at
We
the
don't
courthouse.
need that type of drama at the courthouse. For
Absolutely
sure.
not.
Well, what
No
I've been-
lies, no drama.
Okay, so this is the deal. Now, I really, really feel y'all gonna need to share this. You're gonna share something, share this. Okay, this says the incumbent judge, Kim Cooks. That would be, let me look over my glasses like I've seen judges do before. That would be you.
That's
Who's going
me.
through a heavily contested custody battle with her child's father, attempted to rescind a voluntary recusal order to preside over a case involving her child's father's girlfriend. Judges do not get to pick which case.
Well, she's laughing, so it must not be.
No, because it's making me, because I'm looking at this and I feel like I'm Judge Mathis.
And you know what's sad is when people put stuff in writing and put it out there.
Now,
people
because
just
somebody
run
sent
with
me
it.
this, and I got this, and this is not something I normally get. I normally get stuff saying that my car is up for, you know, some kind of renewal. Someone
We're
on
trying to contact you
checking
about
or
your
something.
car's warranty.
But instead, I'm getting this about you. You know,
Well, I guess in anticipate, they saw that we were coming on your show, Mr. Gray. Maybe that's what it is. But you come on now.
the contested custody battle. How old's your son?
He'll be 18 in 2 months. So, I mean, anybody, I mean,
Most people who
how's that
understand-
going to happen?
Yeah, most people who understand family court know that at 18, the family courts lose jurisdiction. I lose jurisdiction over kids at 17, but definitely 18, when it comes to custody, you lose jurisdiction. So it's hard. I can't see anybody 17 years old having a custody battle. That seems ridiculous. Of all things to say, a custody, are you in a custody battle?
No, absolutely
Wait a minute,
not.
no,
Absolutely
I'm talking
Oh,
not.
to
I'm
her.
sorry.
Oh.
I'm sorry.
Absolutely not. That is the funniest thing. That's hilarious. I don't know if that's meant to be comical or what.
No, but
Because,
this is serious.
You know our
no,
son.
but this is. I know him. He's,
Yeah, you're right. And you know he's been with me since conception.
but
and he's about to graduate high school. You know what? I'm so proud of my son. He made straight A's last semester. I am so proud of him. National Society of High School Scholars. He's been in the Dallas area going to school all his life. I'm so proud of him. So next place he'll be going is to college. I mean, do you send him from a custody battle to college, or how that work?
I don't know.
but why is this out here? Because someone sent me this through Facebook. Why is this stuff out here like this?
You know, ever since, it seems like ever since Trump got in office with the fake news, that everybody just runs with it, and they either never had good character or they develop bad characteristics based on that. So who knows? Who knows?
But I will say, I've been in family court. Most people that I know have been in family court, and it's not unusual. I've been in family. It was embarrassing having to go to family court for child support, having to go to family court for a divorce. I hope I don't have to go again. I'm married again.
You've
But-
been in family court.
Man, yes. And when I had to go in there for child support as a sitting judge, it was embarrassing.
Wait a
but
minute. You went to family court
I did.
for child support.
Yes, we are
Somebody
like
filed on you for child support.
Well, no, the attorney, I have a child support order because my
Okay.
son is, as she said, our sons are 17.
Okay.
And the Attorney General's office will review child support usually every 3 years.
Oh,
and so
okay.
when they decide to review it and you get served, that's why she was asking you were going to serve us some papers because I had to get served. I
Some
got served at the
papers?
courthouse and I had to go into court. And it was funny because when I walked into the courtroom, people were, I mean, it was quiet. It was like, who's that that they say when he speaks, everybody listens? The room got quiet, and I was there for child support. So because you have a case, I mean, does that mean if I have a child support case that I should
Did they
be-
go up on child support with you?
It went up. I didn't ask for it,
That's
though.
good.
But I was excited because I had to
Normally
be
with
in
brothers,
there.
it always go up.
But
so
you know
it's
what?
good.
When they said they wanted to review it, I'm like, let's not do this because it's gonna go up. It hasn't. I've never asked for a review. Let's just dismiss it. But when you have a spouse that you sometimes don't, an ex-spouse or ex-partner you don't sometimes get along with, they don't necessarily listen to what you say. So you have to have that lesson that's learned in court.
Wow.
So I didn't want to increase it. I mean, my son's doing well. I had a good income.
But only live with you?
He lives with me, yes.
You had to pay child support?
No, his father pays child support.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So yes, I had to go to court for child support. And just because
Judge Cooks, I'm directing the question down.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay, you're good. Just the judge over here on my right was just out of order. Go ahead, please proceed.
I'm sorry. I don't want to be held in contempt of court.
No, don't worry about it.
But yeah, just because we are normal people who have cases pending, that doesn't mean any scandal. If we had scandal, we would be all over the news if there was some type of
If
scandal.
you had scandal, you'd be the Attorney General.
Look, I
That
know.
would be
Can I
it.
speak? Look,
Yeah.
I know, because it's been little things, and they'll put us on the media. They waiting for us to do something so they can put us.
Why
on the
would you
media.
say
So,
that?
Of course.
Well, with us being bodybuilders last time, we went from bodybuilders to strippers to, I don't make that stripper money. I wish I did because I got some student loans.
I'm feeling uncomfortable in this very
Cash
quick.
app, send it to me. I got some
feeling
student
very
loans.
uncomfortable. I really am.
I know, because I've seen those videos of the money the strippers make. I'm like, is that real? You come home every night with
With
stack of
10,000,
money
I
like
saw this
this?
one lady I follow on TikTok. She brings home 10,000 cash.
I'll have
She
a
works
feeling
Thursday,
on
Friday,
YouTube
Saturday,
people
Sunday.
will be reviewing this again. I really do. So this deal we have here, recusing Judge Cooks, recusing yourself from the case involving the girlfriend of a child's father. There you go.
I can't discuss cases that were in my court or that are in any of the family courts, but that's not true.
So you're not trying to preside over a case with your girlfriend? Well, do you know your child's father's girlfriend?
Who cares? Like,
So are you
who
trying?
keeps up with that? Who cares?
So are you trying to preside over her case?
Absolutely not.
So-
Absolutely not.
This is quite disturbing.
Right.
It
Quite-
is.
quite
but
disturbing.
your opponent, and obviously you're not going to say who your opponent is because everyone gets on this show, they never says who their opponent is. This is very contentious. This is sort of, y'all are really going hard at this thing.
Who's going hard? I don't address the relevancy. That's irrelevant.
And as judges, we really aren't supposed to get in the muck. And
Right.
really, you don't want someone to sit as a judge who's going to try to be all about drama and fake news and lies and things like that, because that messes up the credibility of the judiciary, and that's not what you want. It really isn't. If you have someone who can stand on their record, then let's put records up against records, not foolishness, not lies, not made up
Okay,
stuff.
so let's go ahead and go with the accomplishments, and I'll start from the left. What are your major accomplishments?
I made a promise when I was on that campaign trail when we first met in 2013. Our sons were with us because, they were 9. And at that time, when I decided to run for juvenile judge, I realized that at 10 in Texas, at that time, a child could be taken away from home, locked up, put in a cell, and for a crime. And although we don't want kids committing crimes, we definitely don't want them institutionalized. Think about how that affects an adult who is locked up and taken away from family. That's a significant thing. But what about a baby, a 10-year-old baby being locked up? So that's not wanted to change that. I wanted to be the person who actually stopped that pipeline to prison with a real program that affects our kids in the juvenile system. So what I did was I started as soon as I took office, I fulfilled that campaign promise, and I started my youthful offender diversion court. We target kids from 10 to 13, whether they have a misdemeanor or a felony. We've steered them into that court. We deal with the entire family, because if a 10-year-old is breaking into your house, it's not just that 10-year-old's fault. It's that parent's issue. It's a family issue. Why is a 10-year-old getting a gun and robbing someone, breaking into a house, dealing drugs. That's an issue for the entire family. So instead of just dealing with that child, we deal with the entire family. And so we have a program. It's a 3-phase program. I treat my little babies 10 to 13 like baby lawyers. Teach them concepts. And the last part before they graduate is community service. Because for me, I realize when you are connected to your community, you are less likely to offend. If you recognize who your neighbor is and have respect for your neighbor and know who they are, you're less likely to go and try to steal and rob and rape and pillage. So they have a gigantic community service component that's more than any other community service component. And so since 2015, we've had over 200 graduates. And our recidivism rate is the lowest of all the juvenile diversion courts. So I'm very proud of that. We had to take a break because of COVID, but we're about to gear back up to keep these kids out of the system. Once their case is dismissed, they go away and they don't ever come back. So that is my greatest accomplishment. I'm very, very proud of that.
So you're actually in court?
We are still remote.
Still remote?
We're still remote.
How's that working for you?
Well, it's actually working really well. Because what we discovered was, at least for the juvenile courts, I deal with juvenile delinquency cases and child protective services cases. On the delinquency side, the criminal side, we discovered that we had more family participation because they didn't have to worry about missing work. They didn't have to be afraid of coming to court. A lot of our community is afraid of coming to court. So we had a lot of participation, so we had better results. And then on the CPS side, it's been amazing because now we have all these fathers who are not afraid to come to court. They're not afraid that they're going to be arrested.
Because they have tickets and
they have tickets.
Yeah.
And so they're coming to court.
Just being real. I mean,
they're coming to court and they're getting their kids. So we have a lot of kids that are exiting the foster care system with their daddies. So remote has actually worked really well. And even when COVID is finally over, if we ever get there, we're still going to continue remote because it has worked for our communities. They don't have to worry about missing work because a lot of people in our communities have jobs where they can't miss work. You miss work going to court, then you don't have a job. So they have to choose between a job and going and taking care of their kids.
Don't you think that will go against, being remote? That means you're not down at the courthouse.
And I think there's going to be
there's been some criticism before in the past that they say basically you don't show up for work.
Yes.
Okay.
That's what that was said was for. That was said about me before, even though the person who was that loud man downtown was saying that when he did the report, found out that my court was number one in all my
okay, I just want to just
but yes, there's going to be some
because someone will be saying, well, they're your friends. You didn't ask the question,
and I appreciate it because let's address it. The stats, because we know we have meetings every month to look at what's going on with our stats, and the numbers show that we're doing excellent because of the remote. For both courts, the 304th and the 305th, we're doing great. And so yes, we're going to be remote because that works for our community, it works for our constituents, and we're going to do what works to make sure that we are leaving people better than when we found them. Okay.
All right, Judge Cooks, here's your turn for the question I asked. I've been in your courtroom remotely. A gentleman, one of my colleagues in Grand Prairie, was in court and handling some child custody. And it worked real fine. I saw that it worked real fine in that particular instance, obviously. How's this working for you?
Okay, well, when I ran in 2013, I also ran on the platform of mending the broken families. And that's what I have done since that point. Because I believe if parents have an issue, let's try to make them whole. Let's get them drug rehab. Let's get them the mental health they need. Let's get them on their medication track if they have mental health or any other kind of ailments, so they can be the best parents that they can be for their children, because we're ultimately looking at what's in the best interest of the children. And also with child protective services cases, I believe that every stone should be turned so children can stay with family members, church members, friends, anyone but go into the foster care system so they will have permanent traumatization to them as adults. So we want to minimize that and look at every other place that we can put them that has a connection to them, a knowing connection, before they go into foster care. So that's been excellent. And then we've been, making sure that parents get back on track so they can get their kids back. That's been excellent. Also, I'm over protective order court. So protective order court was not a full running court And in 2021, I had to brief the commissioner's court, get a full-time coordinator. So I have a full staff in protective order court to serve the Dallas County community. And that has really worked out in protective order court because typically once you get a protective order, or once you get a temporary protective order, somebody files an application for protective order against you. Their allegations are that you committed family violence. If they called the police may have filed charges against you, taken it to the DA's office, got charges filed against you. So when you come to court sometimes, you'll be arrested because you have a warrant for your arrest for either a felony or misdemeanor for family violence. Well, on Zoom, before, when we were in person, people weren't showing up.
Right.
Because they knew, I'm not going to court because they're going to arrest me.
Right.
But they're showing up to the Zoom hearings. We have almost like 100% participation on Zoom. So we're going to continue to do that because we want the participation. And also it has helped with family court because they're showing up too. They can take a break, whether they're at work and come on and they don't have to leave work. They may not have a ride, so they can be in court and get their case heard. So we're really excited about the Zoom, and we have no backlog, absolutely no backlog.
No backlog?
No.
That's been no backlog.
I work.
You work?
Yes, I work. There's no backlog.
Okay. I just want to make sure you work. I'm taking good, copious notes on it. You work, okay. All right. So how many hours of work you do?
It depends. Typically I have about 6 trials set for that day. If we have to go 6, 7 o'clock at night, we'll do that. So we work, get the cases taken care of.
All right. We're getting ready to go to our break right now. It's 5:30, 5:31 to be exact. I'm with judges, and judges always like to be on time, and they cross T's, dot I's, that kind of thing. But you know what? We're going to play a couple of drops while I look into the correct camera because it was over there, then they move it over there. Don't even tell a brother, That's what they do around here. That's the same way they did. I come here one day and they say, we're moving to Euless, Texas, and there you go. So that being said, yeah, I ain't scared. I'm just saying, I say it. So let's go with the drops, and we'll be right back.
Hey, this is DJ K, host of the Universe of the 80s show, broadcasting live each week, Tuesday from 9 to 11 p.m. Central Standard Time from FBRN Studios at Globe Life Park in Arlington, Texas. Log on to www.universeofthe80s.com and fbrn.us to hear the best of the 80s, from Bryan Adams to Journey to Foreigner, on the Universe of the 80s every Tuesday night from 9 to 11 p.m. Central Standard Time, the Universe of the 80s.
On FishbowlRadioNetwork.com. Jump in.
Hey, this is Sir Derek.
And Lady Robin.
And we're the hosts of The Conversation Effect.
Broadcasting live each week on Thursdays at 6 to 8 p.m.
from FBRN Studios at Globe Life Park in Arlington, Texas. Log on to hear a motivating and encouraging message to empower your marriage, family, and community.
So be sure to log on each week on Thursdays at 6 to 8 p.m. to catch
The Conversation Effect.
On Fishbowl Radio Network. Jump in.
Hey everybody, this is Terrence Hopkins, better known as T-Hop the Super Cop, host of the world-renowned Police Talk 101, broadcasting live each week on Tuesday at 8 p.m. from FBRN Studios at Globe Life Park in Arlington, Texas. Log on to hear deep, serious conversation about police issues and other things that are affecting our country today. So be sure to log on each week on Tuesday at 8 p.m. to catch Police Talk 101
on FishbowlRadioNetwork.com. Jump in.
Hey, this is Dee Ingram, host of the Dee Ingram Show, broadcasting live each week on Tuesdays at 5 p.m. from FBRN Studios at Globe Life Park in Arlington, Texas. Log on to hear a living room conversation that we invite you to be a part of. So be sure to log on each week on Tuesdays at 5 p.m. to catch the Dee Ingram Show
on FishbowlRadioNetwork.com. Jump in.
Hello, we are It's About the Kids Incorporated. We are a 501c3 nonprofit organization that operates out of Dallas, Texas.
Our mission is to focus on the kids of today who will become the youth of tomorrow and the adult of the future. Today, tomorrow, the future.
Empowering the community one family at a time.
You can reach us at all social media platforms at It's About the Kids or online at www.itsaboutthekids.org.
Where we mentor a child, save a life.
Wake up and text. Text and eat. Text and meet up with a friend you haven't seen in forever.
Hi.
Oh, hey.
Text and complain that they're on their phone the whole time. Text and listen to them complain that you're on your phone the whole time. Text and whatever. But when you get behind the wheel, give your phone to a passenger. Put it in the glove box. Just don't text and drive. Visit StopTextsStopWrecks.org. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
You're listening to the Commish Radio Show, and we're back again. There's a lot of comments in the chat. I'm not going to address those right now because we are 5:35. Because I am not going to address it. I do appreciate the comments because they're there, and it seems like this is really, really something that we need to discuss somewhere else. Because as I'm reading them, you can read them for yourself. I'm not going to have my show be Jerry Springer-like. I'm just not going to do it.
Absolutely. Stay classy.
I'm just not doing it. So I do appreciate the comments, though. But I will go ahead and as I say to my good friends, fight flat-footed, which means I'm not joking. I'm going to be straight. And one of the things I want to be straight about this is that I've been listening to all of these drops being played on my radio show, and I haven't heard not a single one of my drops being played. Could you play my drop, man?
Hey, how you doing? This is Ed Gray of the Commish Radio Show. Stay tuned and tune in and be up to speed on everything in social justice, human rights, and politics on the Commish Radio Show, airing every Saturday, 5 p.m. on the Fishbowl Radio Network.
Jump in.
All right, jump in. And for those of you that are listening in and looking in, if there are any representatives of any other candidates that like to come in on the show, feel free to come on the show, and then we'll be able to talk side by side, cross from each other. We're not going to go ahead and talk. We're not going to talk online like that. Just come on in the show. You want to come on the show? Come on the show, and then we'll talk like that. I'm not going to do that. I think that'll be better for us all for us to do that. So that's it. So that being said, I'd like to welcome those that are listening right now, Miss Monica Anderson and Miss Demetrius Howard that are listening in as well. So appreciate your comments. Thank you for tuning in. Share this if you will. So that being said, again, let's go back again. Politics is politics. The justice system is a justice system. There has to be a form of decorum that exists here.
Yes.
And obviously that decorum has been somewhat broken here on that. So how do we turn this thing around?
You know, my husband said something to me this morning because someone came to him and said, why are so many people talking about your wife's friend? Why are they doing that? I've been knowing y'all for all this time. I've watched them. I know that they both bodybuild. Why are there so much nastiness? And he said, you know what? It's because, like he said, it's politics and there's an opponent. And he's told this guy that if his wife had an opponent, it would be the same thing because he watched it last time. How nasty people got, how people called me, everything but a child of God. And that's unfortunate when politics is involved. It shouldn't be this nastiness. You shouldn't have to have nastiness and make up things because you want a position. You should be able to say why you believe you're the best candidate, not have this personal thing that you were doing to bring drama and nastiness and just diminish the prestige of the bench or the profession, the legal profession, or politics. We need to make a change. You know, this Trumpian style politics is not good for anybody.
So the Trumpian style politics that we're talking about, and this right here that we're talking about, that has affected you both on this.
It does.
How do you really? How do you go forward with this? I mean, because I'm looking at these comments, and then I'm people sending me things, and I'm going like, wow, this is not really what I counted on doing. When I walked in here, I didn't count on doing this. How do you go about doing this? I mean, you know.
Well, you know, we're
it says like if you talk about trauma infliction, and those are questions that generally speaking are not good. I have to address it because it's on here, but I'm just not going to go back and forth with individuals about this. Go ahead.
Of course, the same way you do that. I mean, we don't do that. We're in a position where we cannot address the public, we cannot address cases because we're judges, and that's not the demeanor of a judge. That's not the way that a judge acts. So, I mean, I'm not going back and forth with anyone. I have no reason to.
But when you think about the fact that we've been sitting on this bench since 2015, and all the cases that have come before us.
20,000 have come before
I mean,
us.
all the cases that have come before us in my court, and, you know, talking about Judge Cook's court. But the only issue is when someone, I mean, it's family court, it's juvenile court. People aren't going to be happy. That's the fact. People are not, somebody's going to be a winner, somebody's going to be a loser. And the people that are not happy are the ones that usually are the ones that start saying that you were unfair, you were biased, your temperament was bad. They don't want to say, okay, well, I failed this drug test. They don't want to tell their pastor, well, I was sleeping with this person and that I was touching this person. They don't want to say that. They're going to say, this judge is a terrible judge. She doesn't know the law. She's angry, she's vengeful, all these things. And if that was the case, you know, we have people we have a higher body that's governing us. And if we acted like what people are trying to say you act like.
Do you have an opponent as well?
I don't have an opponent this time, and I'm thankful. I praise God that I don't have an opponent. But when I had an opponent last time, that's what was said, that I did not have a temperament for being a judge. All of a sudden, I had been on the bench all this time. I hadn't had anyone complain until somebody decided to run against me.
Because you have to understand, you know, the governing body she's talking about is the Judicial Conduct Commission. Where's the complaints? Where's the reprimands for
You ever been
judicial
reprimanded by it?
We have not been reprimanded. We were warned for saying we and us, as in endorsing each other for the last campaign.
Because we have always been together, you know, we were on the campaign trail together, and the people, we assumed that the people who filed the complaints were the people who we beat last time, and they didn't like that we said that we were community judges. So I have to say, I'm a community judge, and I want you to vote for me.
And I have to say, I'm a community judge, and I'm the fitness judge, instead of saying we. I can't use the terminology that we and us. So that's what we were warned about. Right. We received a warning. So I've never been reprimanded, not as an attorney, not as a judge.
Right.
And that's the governing
As an attorney, have you never been reprimanded?
I have not.
Attorney?
I have no. I've never been disciplined as an attorney.
What ways
this
could
is the
you
20th year that I've been an attorney.
Which ways could you been disciplined? Not a leading question, but okay, not putting you into it. Let's just ask a straight up question. A lawyer, what could they be disciplined for?
Well, if you look at the back of the State Bar of Texas journal, they publish the disciplinary actions, and people are disciplined for not keeping up with cases, not returning phone calls, not keeping their clients,
not returning money,
or commingling funds. They may have taken the client's fund and put it into their own personal fund. You'll get in trouble for that. So it's stuff like that people are typically getting in trouble for. I don't have any of those. And then on the judicial side, you can get in trouble if you don't have patience, if you don't allow a person to be heard, if you talk about somebody's case, if you, it's a whole realm of things. So that's why I said,
if you are diminishing the prestige of the judiciaries.
Right.
Yeah.
Does that mean, okay. Go ahead.
So we've taken an
on
oath.
and off the bench.
Okay,
and off the bench. So on and off the bench, we have a certain demeanor that we have to
All right, so that brings the question of the bodybuilding.
Right.
Okay, does that diminish the...
She was actually featured in the State Bar Journal.
Right.
I was upset they didn't feature me too.
I know.
I mean, I was
they featured me. So they featured me in the State Bar Journal, which is the lawyer's magazine for the State Bar of Texas. They featured me as a bodybuilder. Even before I was on the bench.
Yes.
They did during the time that I was on the bench, but yet someone wants to say that we were strippers, although we're bodybuilding. And then again, January, just a few weeks ago, I was featured in Texas Lawyer magazine again, mentioning that I'm a bodybuilder.
And they show pictures of you being bodybuilders in these magazines?
They showed me working out in the Texas Bar Journal. Mm-hmm. Yes. So they featured me and showed me working out.
And and that goes to
that's been a criticism. It said you don't look like a judge.
Right, but if the State Bar of Texas has no problem with it, they feature me. I don't see why anyone else. It's no harm to anyone. It's no harm to myself in doing so. So it's health. It's part of self-care.
And especially mental health, because they really want to make sure the judges have some outlets because of all the things we see. I mean, with me, I see autopsy photos and see babies, broken bones, and, burns and things like that. So we have to have an outlet. And so the judiciary has a component now to make sure our mental health is taken care of. So now when we go to judicial conferences, we're working out, we're doing yoga, we're doing mindfulness because they understand that we need to have an outlet. Now, I think the biggest issue that we have to deal with is the fact that it's people who want women to be in a certain box because we have a hobby. And it's not just women judges and women lawyers. Women doctors have been criticized because they want to be in bodybuilding or they want to go swimming and put on a bikini. It's about this paternalistic view of what women are supposed to be and how people believe that we should still be able to control women. Men who bodybuild, we have judges who do marathons, they do diving, they have to put on the uniform of their sport. Triathlons, they have to put on the uniform of their sport, but they are not criticized because they're men. It's a difference between the treatment that men get versus women. And what it comes back to is us having to wear that A on our, because that's what they're trying to say, that our character is diminished because we have the nerve to want to take care of ourselves, be healthy, feel great, and look great. And I think everybody should do that. We should age gracefully. The Bible says that our temple is supposed to be holy. We can't go forward and give as we're supposed to if we don't take care of our temple first.
And you know what? Interesting enough, the doctors, they got on women doctors about wearing bikinis, about bodybuilding also. Well, they did a big protest on that. Yes. Those women all stuck together and they, their voice was heard about why it wasn't diminishing the medical profession with bodybuilding.
And I can tell you, I have never worn my competition bikini on the bench.
I thought you wore it under the robe.
That's what I heard, but I can tell you, I have never worn my bodybuilding competition bikini on the bench.
Did you wear it walking down the street?
All right, let's go with another question.
But that's how silly it is.
That's right. That's pretty silly like that.
We've proven that I can keep a straight face. So, as we get ready to go to a close, we call the fight early on this one. We get ready to go to a close. Your bench right here, because we have to be out at 5:50. Yeah, 5:50. So go ahead.
You know what? One other thing.
We saw in your stack of papers.
Right, that you were trying to address. I don't have a position open. There is no court reporter position open in my court. So any lies told about that, there's no position open.
But when we were looking at that job opening that you had.
Well, I hadn't mentioned it, but this is what I have since you
that's
took over
fake.
my papers.
It's fake website. That's not even Dallas County
website. No, but let's go with this. As we get ready to go to a close, why should we elect you for your bench?
Well, I stand on my record. I'm in the community. I'm in the broken families, and I'm a community judge. I go in the community. I've helped families, men back together. I do what's in the best interest of the children. I'm fair. I'm patient. I believe in dignity. I believe in grace and mercy. The same way God gave us grace and mercy, that's what a judge should do on the bench, is give you grace and mercy. So Judge Kim Cooks, Show Me Love, February 14th through 25th, and March 1st is the primary. Judge Kim Cooks.
And I'm Judge Andrea Lane, and I've stayed active in the community and vocal on all my social media because that way you can see who I am and not have to fall for the okey-dokes, because we have to do this every 4 years. And I have shown you who I am. I've been consistent. I have been here for our children. I'm protecting our children. I'm asking you to keep me on the bench. Choose me Valentine's Day, February 14th. I'm number 1 on the ballot. What number are you?
Number 2 on the ballot, so make sure you go down, Judge Kim Cooks. It'll be listed as Kim Cooks. They won't put the judge in front of it, so Kim Cooks.
All right, you've been listening to the Commish Radio Show podcast, the best radio show from Como to the Congo. Loved by many, hated by a few, respected by all. I'm second to none. So that being said, we will see you back next week. Take that back. See you on Monday. Michael Cooper will be here in the studio. He's running for governor for the state of Texas. Come back and holler at me later.
Hey, how you doing? This is Ed Gray of the Commish Radio Show. Stay tuned and tune in and be up to speed on everything in social justice, human rights, and politics on the Commish Radio Show, airing every Saturday, 5 p.m. on the Fishbowl Radio Network.
Jump in.
Who was that masked man? You mean you don't know? That wasn't no masked man.